Today we're going to be playing the same blue-white approach list as yesterday. Figure we'll give it one more run for the ringers, maybe do a little bit different sideboarding before we start making any more alterations to the deck. Overall, yesterday, the Ixalan's bindings and the Essence scatters overly impressed, but the Gideon underimpressed, not having more meltdowns felt a little bad, not having to force cast out felt a little bad. The Kefnet underperformed, not being able to draw an authority kind of underperformed. Trencher Gearhulk in the main wasn't great, but also wasn't bad. But overall, it was a fine list, I guess. I just want to give it one more chance before we completely start reassembling it. So we're just gonna go ahead and jump into the game. And I apologize if my throat sounds a little weird or I'm a little quiet today. I apparently have gotten a cold or a throat infection or something. Not exactly sure. Hey now, what's up? Yeah, I've mused about that quite a few times on stream. I feel like I often lose games just because I don't have the fourth one in, but the deck list is... Oh, nice job, Moto. The deck list is so tight, it's got to make some kind of sacrifice somewhere. I guess that's one of the more reasonable sacrifices. I'm not on board with it, though. Go ahead and keep this. It's a little landlocked, but we do have a Fumigate, and we do have a bit of early interaction and an opt. I would like to know, really wish we kept up with the stats on how often our opponents have had turn 1 attunes versus how often we've had them when we played that deck. Because I think all the energy decks, I think they perform vastly different whether they have an attune or not on turn 1. And I think the math says you're going to get it like 44% of the time or something, but on the play anyway. And we didn't come close to that percent. Like, we're beyond under on that number. I think Drake's really good. I've actually not experimented much with GFG. Really need to. I played it one league and I played it very badly, and we either 3-2'd or 4-1'd, I think. And the deck felt very good. I don't know why I never did revisit it. I feel like it's a deck that I probably wouldn't play particularly well. Because I feel like it's a deck that you actually have to know how to play. Whereas we play so many different decks on stream, it's really hard for us just to pick up a deck and be ready to go. Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking, and I don't focus as well on stream as I do like in Paper Magic and stuff like that. I get distracted easily, especially on stream. This card's actually pretty good in this match. Go ahead and zero it here. Makes it hard to get one shot by a pummeler. But he's not missed any creatures or anything yet, so this could just be like Hydra or another pummeler. This Hydra, we can make him burn some energy, or, you know, like a Blossoming Defense or something, which is kind of nice. Alright. Well, he didn't burn anything on it. That's fine. We'll hold our Fumigate then. GFabs and his crew played one at Worlds. I honestly don't remember what the list was, but I assume it's reasonable. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'll just go ahead and see if he wants to waste 3 energy or a spell or something on that, and then we'll fumigate after that. Alright. You got us, bud. Go ahead and get those off the board. Now, unless he plays a Pummeler here, which he won't have the mana now to protect it, we're not in too much fear because we don't win this turn, but we win the turn after that. So game 1's going to be paint by numbers, it seems. I was really lucky that he didn't have a 2-drop. 2-drop could have changed this game immensely, but he didn't play any spell other than Attune until turn 3, and we got the Censor and then Essence Scatter. Hey, thank you, Norton. Appreciate it, homie. No, I agree. That's one of the reasons I've always leaned towards the red build of the deck. And sometimes you just draw double approach. And wins like that are very much why I like having 2 approaches in the deck. Not saying we couldn't have won without, or sorry, 4 approaches in the deck. Not saying we couldn't have won without it, but it always feels really good. Anyway. In this match, I tend to bring in all of these cards. Sometimes I bring in these cards depending on how stock of a build I think they're playing. But when they play like the blue cartouches and stuff, you lose a lot of value from the Regal Caracols in general. Things that I don't particularly like in this match, I don't particularly like all of these spells where you pay mana to target. I don't know why I pulled the bindings over. For some reason I was thinking of actual Teamer when I pulled them over, but this is a Pummeler list, which means because it's Pummeler, I was sideboarding for the wrong match, which is very silly of me. But since it's Pummeler, I typically like to bring a few of these spells in so that you don't just get wrecked early. Usually get rid of these, and then what card I take out at the end's pretty random. The Ever Meltdowns aren't good here, but it is nice to have something in the deck that can deal with a Long Tusk Cub that comes down before a Censor or a Scatter can kill it. Honestly, I probably should consider taking out an Opt for the other Negate as well. Probably should have, to be honest. This hand's keepable, but it's not great. I don't like how I sideboarded this game. I hit submit too early. I kinda, like I said, I'm feeling a little bad today, and I had it in my mind that I was sideboarding for Teamer, and then, I don't know, I just was discombobulated the whole sideboarding phase. That's one of the issues with having multiple searches in your deck, but getting one on turn 2s, and even if you draw a dead one, I feel like just making sure you get this is worth more than the value. This is Rick's list again, yes. Hey Shadow, what's up, man? Also, hello James, I don't think I said hello to you today. Hope you're having a fine day. Same list I played yesterday, it is in fact Rick's list. And we are really far behind already, which is one of the issues of this deck. We're probably going to put anything in the graveyard that's not exactly settled to wreckage. We're just going to hope we find our land in some other turn. Because as it is, we don't have enough time to get to Fumigate. He untaps and attacks for 7, and then like any spell would kill us on the turn after that. It's really hard to beat these decks unless you're set up and ready to rock. You often don't have time to get to your Fumigates. Yep, that's a problem. He's got a can. If we don't draw, we're just dead on board. If we hit a land, there is some percentage chance that he'll play around killing us. We didn't even hit a land, so there's nothing for us to bluff. Alright, so we'll move on to the next game. Yep, it's Pummeler. Can't even bluff anything without the land. Kinda want these. kind of want these on the draw. Or sorry, on the play. Let's try this. Overload with our early counters early, and then hopefully be able to resolve one of these into one of these to gain some life. That hand's pretty good. We have the early settle. We just have to dodge his counterspell. Which is very similarly to how the teamer matches play out as well. You draw your Wrath. If they have the counterspell, you typically lose most games. Especially if you haven't hit like your Essence Scatters or Sensors early in the game to like keep the pressure off the board. Certainly going to the bottom, even though we might need land. Alright, we hit a counterspell. Feel pretty good about that. Probably made a small mistake there. I probably should have opted during my main phase, in case we drew irrigated farmlands off of it. He's not going to play around anything on that turn typically anyway. Like they can't really afford to. We will keep the land, I think. Drawing a second Wrath effect is generally exactly where you want to be. Would counterspell most relevant threats on this turn? What are you into today, Mr. Corey? You're having a wonderful day, I hope. Alright. Got us. Another counterspell, but... we have a Glimmer here, which is nice. They're spending 4 mana? I guess we accept that then. Just gonna look for a mana and try to fumigate. I actually want both of these, I believe. That negate's pretty nice, especially if we draw a land next turn, because we'd be able to protect the settle if he does have like a pummeler or something. If he doesn't have a pummeler, probably don't even have to cast a settle. I think there's a good chance he has a pummeler there. So we like really need to hit the land. Hitting the land feels great. Starting to get sick? What kind of sick are you getting? And is this Corey or Ricky? It's a good one. It chose not to attack. Well, we missed our land drop, so. Got like a sore throat, flu sick. Like, what kind of sick you getting, man? Hope you feel better. Yeah. Got us. Assume that means he drew a counterspell. Or he has a double counterspell. Now he's showing off, so he's certainly got something, because there's no reason else to go for 40. So he knows he's won. But who knows, maybe he doesn't. There's some percentage chance that he doesn't have double to negate, right? Even though that's a beyond awkward play if he doesn't. And that easy to lose. Oh well. That's pretty much how the teamer match plays up as well. Yeah, getting into round 2. They draw 2 counter spells in the top 15 or 20 cards. You just do not win. I don't think we did anything even moderately wrong. Maybe could have mulligan game too. Thank you, Moto. Appreciate you keep moving our screen. This hand's by far keepable. He's already mulliganed. Hey, they don't have a tune. That's music to my ears. Black, green. Oh, they have their best card. Might not be their best card. With black, I guess Glint Siphoner could be their best card for the match. So weird. So he lost a point of energy making that play. Second Wrath's exceptionally good. Oh, it's us for about half of our life. Not a lot we can do about it either. Hey, guy's name who I can't come close to pronouncing. What's up? You didn't go all in, which was pretty odd as well. I don't really want to cast out. I could just take the land, I guess. Try to ensure we get to 7 lands. So we know what we're doing for very likely our next few turn. Elk Jik Werut. Elk Jik Werut. Can I just call you Elk, or is that offensive? Hey, they have blue cards in their deck. Elk Jik Werut. Actually sounds kind of cool. Down to 3 cards zone. One of them's very likely a removal spell. Okay, fair. Most people call you Elk. I didn't want to be offensive or anything. I didn't know if that was like a family name or something. I'm just a dumb redneck personally. Again, I apologize for like sounding kind of down and in the dumps right now. I'm also, like Corey said, getting a little sick with a throat infection, so I'm trying to talk a little quieter than normal. I guess I'll take 3. It's better to take 3 this turn than like let him untap and play like a monster of some kind. It's kind of interesting, so he's probably going to steal his own dude. This is a May. Nope, not a May. All sorts of fun. Could have looked for an Essence Scatter, but not really worried about him casting things at the moment. Feeling like pretty set up with his hand. Fair enough. Fair enough. Sounds like the most reasonable explanation for a name I've ever heard. He's got a counterspell. This would suck. Also wouldn't be the end of the world. Yeah, Gearhulk and the Settle is a cute combo. All sorts of friendly things happen when you do things like that. Friendly things everywhere, friendly things, oh my dear. Is that the one he showed us? Yeah. Ooh, big boy. And a friend? No, don't play and a friend. Bristling Hydra's enough. Should take some large amount of damage next turn, right? So 4, 4, 5, 6, and then... So every 2 energy he spends gives him 2. So 4, 5, 6, like 1,000,000? So assuming he kills this, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And he's got 7 activations times 2, 14. So I'm like super dead? Not just dead, I'm like super dead. If he draws a Vraska's Contempt or a Hostage Taker, so I guess we'll leave up Settle the Wreckage. I guess I could have farmland for a Fumigate, and that would have probably been correct there. Yeah, I don't like how I played that turn, but I'm glad that we chose this line because we would have just died. He didn't choose to make this massive, which is good for us. So it gives us a turn off to play our approach. It's going to be very hard for him to kill since that just does 9 now. We're going to be at 19. Like, he can still win the game over 2 attacks, but it's hard for him to win in 1 attack. So no matter what here, we should have some percentage chance to like hit the next thing that we need. So we've played 3 settles and we could easily lose this game. It's actually kind of scary. Can very easily lose this game. In fact, we're probably a favorite to lose it, right? He didn't deal more damage to us. Wow. Why didn't he deal more damage? Do we have enough mana for all of that? Hey, now, what's up, man? So that's for us. Yeah, we have enough mana for everything. I'm gonna go ahead and do this now before he has the opportunity to draw a Blossoming Defense. And then we're gonna go ahead and mill ourselves. So after we scry a card, the next card we draw should be an approach. So he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in play. Not sure if he has a card that can win from that. So whatever the top card is, unless it's just randomly approach, gets ditched to the graveyard. if our opponent had just done more damage with this cub and the previous cub, wow. Wow. Alright. Rivulet definitely goes to the graveyard. Because we know the top card of our library is an approach. Got him. Yeah. Alright, so how do we like to sideboard versus these decks? On a personal level versus any deck that has Scarab, I do not bring in Torrential Gearhulk. I just don't. I don't think it's worth it. I think it's too easy for them to kill like the first half of it with a big attack or like a Veraska or something like that and then just kill us. We certainly want these cards. We certainly want these cards. Versus a Blossoming Defense deck, I don't think I actually want to get in. I actually think I do want some number of negates. It's good versus their negate, but the problem is they are a... What do you say? They are a... Sorry, I'm just like brain farting left and right when I talk today. They are a duress deck, and like sometimes they can just duress your other spells and leave you with errant negates, is what I'm trying to say. So there's 4 cards to take out. I think we're going to take out a Supreme Will because we've already added an extra hard counter in an Essence Scatter and an extra hard counter in the Disallow. Probably going to shave an Opt as well. Not actually sure about that for Meltdowns. They seem like they buy me a little bit of time, but they're like bad versus Blossoming Defense. Let's try this. This list is still a little foreign to me, so like sideboarding it's not completely intuitive to me. I'm playing somebody else's list, so like I didn't build it, so like I never put thought into what went in and out, like we just copied. So that's a little bit why it seems so hard to figure this stuff out. So I have to apologize for that. Letter Settle's okay. Obviously we're going to have to hit lands at some point. Having a Meltdown is very, very nice though, especially if like all he plays is a Lone Tusk up here. Not a land, but a pretty good spell. Fortunately, the Sultai lists play a lot more aggressive than the other lists, so like taking a turn off to play Search for Azcanta versus the aggressive decks is kind of medium. Could have considered sideboarding 1 or 2 copies out. Maybe brought in a Regal Caracal or 2. Probably better than what we did. What do we got? Well, we did hit our land, so that's nice. I'm just going to pass here instead of playing the Search for Azcanta because we're either A, going to counterspell something like a Bristling Hydra, or B, we're going to want to look for our land. Or C, we're going to be depressed. Alright, we'll just look for our land then. Because if he has anything he wants to resolve, he just takes the Supreme Will anyway. So I'd rather guarantee to lock up our land to make him start playing around Settle. And he may not have to play around Settle. I mean, he could obviously just have a counter. Took Azcanta, so he's not afraid of our 2 Settles. But most good opponents can play around Settles. Settle's a lot better card than I thought it was at the beginning of the season. The format's a lot more different than I had originally anticipated as well. Probably gonna need to draw like Land Fumigate to win this. Where he didn't take one of the settles, I almost assuredly think he has a counterspell here. We did not draw the land. Oh, he just has another settle. Or just another dress. 3 dresses in the top 12 cards. It's pretty bad. That's why Sultai's better versus the approach decks and the teamer decks. They're both pretty good, but Sultai has a big edge, whereas teamer just has a little edge, in my opinion. Obviously, some people would debate that opinion. Yeah. I put both on bottom even though we need a land for the Fumigate, because drawing the Fumigate is more important than like arbitrarily trying to find a land for it. Let's gonna play this while we can. He's got a blossoming defense, he's got a blossoming defense, but like I don't want to let him untap and draw a card and have a potential extra card for negate or an extra card to hit a defense. This is one of the reasons when we were sideboarding I said cast out's not particularly good in matches that have, and like in round 1, when I said cast out's not particularly good versus these decks. Alright, looks like we have one draw step. Did we get there? We did not. Yeah. So let's look at how we sideboarded and see if we can try to find anything better. I think I want some of the Caracals in, especially on the play. We're 0-1. We've got crushed by an energy deck, and we're currently up against it versus another energy deck. I think I'm willing to shave one cast out. I still want the bindings because of Scarab. I guess. Maybe I don't want any of these. Maybe they're just not good enough. I don't know. I don't really want to take out Sensors versus the 12 2-drop dot deck. But if I'm supposed to take them out versus Mono Red, then that means I'm probably supposed to take them out here as well. I don't like the Gearhulks in this match because I'm too afraid of them dying or getting counterspelled and then them getting extra negates back. But maybe it's just the most common way for them to kill it is Vraska, so they don't get it back anyway. Hey Flame, what's up, man? Not saw you in a while. Let's shave one search. Kinda don't want the negates. Really don't think I want the negates. The negates really only get their negates. I don't think that's good enough. Not sure if that's good enough at all. Alright, Ricky likes taking out Sensors. I guess we can take out Sensors. Still have 5 2-mana counter spells. That might be enough. Not a fan of it. I really want the Censor back. Alright, this hand's literally everything I want. Except for lands, of course. opponent has yet a toon again. Yes, they do. All my opponents have turned to a toon. This is a weird decision point. Obviously, Essence Scatters are great here, but like time walking ourselves seems pretty bad too. Hey, so far we've not missed a land drop. I think I'm actually supposed to let Winding Constrictor resolve, probably. I think they tell you not to worry about Winding Constrictor and to worry about everything else. Max punished. Probably shouldn't have counterspelled the Winding Constrictor. Took Search for Azcanta. He understands the power. Yeah, whatever this is, I'm going to counterspell it. Doesn't matter what it is. Potentially. But if he just untapped and played a Glint, the game was over. We, like, literally could not beat Glint. Like, the game was over on the spot if he had untapped and played a Glint on turn 2. Like, we can pick up our cards. Doesn't look like it would have mattered anyway, as we've still not hit a land through multiple draw steps. Yeah, deck, you can do it. Land for us. Not a land. He probably has a counterspell or something at this point as well. Really don't like Rishkar in these decks. He's like extremely thankful he's playing this over other things. Extremely thankful. At this point, we would have probably got to flip our Search for Azcanta by having 7 things in the graveyard, as we would have put every one of these that we could have into the graveyard. He has a counterspell, the game's just over. Yeah. Next game. Or next match. 0-2. So far, our losses haven't felt particularly close, and our wins have all felt pretty close. Not sure how we sideboarded, though. Yeah, it's kind of hard to find me RW Foxes, or Foxes? Fox? RW Foxes. I don't really have a stream schedule. I don't have a job or a girlfriend or really much of a life, so basically I just stream whenever I wake up. Hey, we're playing versus Total Donkey again. We played versus him yesterday. I do not remember who the winner was, but I do remember his name because we made many jokes about it. I said that I did not think he was an actual donkey, because if he was a donkey, he probably wouldn't be able to use his fingers to play Magic. And now we get paired versus worst match. Hey JJ, what's up, man? Thank you so much, super appreciative. It's not a rough day yet, we can still rally. We're feeling a little under the weather, but we can still rally. Don't count us out. 3-0. The 3-2 dream is still alive. It's just a lot less live than it used to be. I just don't think he has a phone flame, so I don't think he's a donkey. I'm sorry. Alright. Do your worst. Certainly don't want that. Alright, well, that gives us hope. All we have to do is not die to this and this. For like a lot of turns. Oh god, I'm about to cough. I don't like this. Screw you, code. Go away. I've never heard of a donkey with a finger, man. It's called mutation. Alright, fair. So, we need something and we need it fast. None of those spells are something. Alright, I'll take this one. Just because if he gets mana screwed, that card seems like it's the most reasonable, even though we don't even have the lands to use it. Now I really wish I'd taken any other spell. If he has a land or a burn spell, I don't think we can actually win. Alright. Got him. Fumigate's not particularly good, and we probably don't even get to cast it. It's just that best case we take the Censor. Or sorry, worst case, like we get one cycle this way, like maybe he didn't have the land, and like he played a Rampaging for Ostodon or something. Certainly want that in the graveyard. Alright. Well, to see what our opponent has here. If our opponent has nothing, we can still win. That is something. I don't think that's enough, is it? He has a burn spell, we're dead. Alright, if you have a burn spell, we're dead, friend. If you don't have a burn spell, I think there's a good chance we win. So, let's go ahead and kill this thing. Yeah, I should have used Field on Desert before I untap, but... Oh, no, I wasn't worried about the Ramunap runes. I wanted him to use the Ramunap runes. If he used the Ramunap runes, we knew we were good. Because we know we're getting 7 lands on this turn. I probably should have used it on the Scavenging Grounds, though. To protect our graveyard so we could get our 7th land. Well, he can attack for 7, including the... What? Oh. Didn't tap that. So we're going up to 8, and he can get us with 7. So if he had a burn spell, we were just dead. Yeah. Came close. I do think it's pretty easy to sideboard versus red decks. He's beating us again at the moment. Crushed us yesterday, crushed us today. The match just is not particularly winnable. The 9 cards that go in and out in this match are extremely easy, though. One second, I gotta cough again. Sorry about that, guys. Like I said, I'm a little sick today. I'm going to sideboard a little bit differently. He wasn't slow rolling. He was playing around like a counter spell on the last turn. Like I could have had like Supreme Will that turn, or whatever. Anyway, I'm going to sideboard a little differently than what Ricky sideboards. Starting by taking out these cards. Ricky had me taking out two Censors yesterday and like a Gideon, and I'm just not willing to take out any of those cards. I'd much rather just take out these cards. I want as much early interaction as I possibly can have. Oh, well, I guess I get to get one of these back. How did I miscount that? Yeah, I don't know how I miscounted that. Whatever. Hey Al, what's up, man? It's been a while. But yeah, we're 0-2 today. We've got crushed by 2 energy decks, and we're currently getting crushed by the red deck. Hey Murph. Welcome to the chat. Alright, we'll keep. He did mulligan, which is really nice. I'm going to lead with the turn 1 authority because there's some percentage chance that we draw like a Glacial Fortress or something and have all of our stuff turned on the following turn anyway. And I'm going to cast the authority on turn 2 even if we did play the farmlands on turn 1, so turn 2 we also don't get the counterspell. But in this manner, like there's some percentage chance to where we like do get the counterspell while having the authority in play. Which seems like we hit. They do have what I consider the best card in their deck versus us. I think Beaumont Courier is better than Hazoret or Chandra versus us. I don't think I want that. Left in Shocks. I do not like leaving in Shocks. I think you should just play more creatures. Lightning Strikes, depending on how your board is designed. I would not have a board that I think Lightning Strike's particularly good versus me with, but it's at least more reasonable if your sideboard is set up in particular or in certain manners. I definitely don't like Shock, but what do I know? He's the one crushing us, so he probably knows better than us. He's mana screwed yet again, by the way. The problem is they're never attacking with Beaumont that they don't have a mountain up. Well, I started talking about it after I'd already saw it. I was just saying in general. He is mana screwed, it seems, though. There's a good chance like he taps that red mana and we just untap and fumigate. Which is what I'm going to look to do here. I'm going to try to Supreme Will and find the land. And hopefully get rid of this Beaumont before he has a chance to use it. So that's a Fumigate and a Settle on the bottom of our deck there. We've already put a Settle on the bottom of our deck, so... We're running low in the raft department, so hopefully he won't have a bunch of creatures. He did mulligan though, and he obviously, you know, running light on red. Rip. Guess we have the extra mana. We'll start with this. Oh, fair enough. Yeah. This game's winnable. He's obviously had a pretty medium draw. Like, he mulliganed to 5 and drew, or sorry, mulliganed to 6 and drew a shock, so it's kind of like a mulligan to 5 and then stalled on red land and didn't get to leverage his Beaumont Courier or his Earthshakers. But we don't have all the time in the world here. Like, we do have to hit. We don't have Azcanthus in our deck. I guess I could have still played the Field of Ruin in case he played a Ramunap. Getting 6 sucks, by the way. Shouldn't have ever left my house this weekend. It's what I get. Ah, come on, authority. I don't know why I said come on authority. I meant to say come on approach. Also would take one of our other 2 fumigates. Man, I don't even want to play this. Not particularly worried about that when he doesn't even have a red mana. I want to try to get the game over with as fast as I can because I don't think we win if this game lasts another 6 or 7 turns if we've not drawn an approach. This could be Hazoret coming to town now, but we can block Hazoret for a while. I took 3 damage from playing the Regal Caracal, but the Regal Caracal will gain us more life than 3. So he's gonna like make both of these not block here. We're just gonna take 3 damage and not care. Actually, we're probably just gonna block this and not care. We can't gain life off the cats anyway, so the cats being a 1/1 or a 2/2's fairly irrelevant, except for in terms of like killing the Harsh Mentor. It's kind of interesting. Could save this for a Chandra, I could save it for a Hazoret, or I could just get to rampaging and start attacking. I think I'm just going to get to Rampager and start attacking. This is a lot of life a turn we gained, so... So, like, even if he has a removal spell for the Regal Caracal next turn, we only lose 1 point of life in this scenario while making him time walk himself. And it turns back on our authority of council. And quite honestly, he's at 13 life. We might just be able to win the game like this. Especially if we draw like another cat. He's going to 13 life, I'll rephrase. Like I'm not confident that we can't win a race in this manner. He could attack a Vol and put us at 15, but then we get to attack back. Yeah, that's fine. I assure you I wasn't blocking anyway, friend. Could have sent a Harsh Mentor too. Yeah, so we're rapidly approaching problem territory. As if he gets another mana, the Earthshakers start coming back. But we're gaining life off of these exchanges. While putting him closer and closer to dead. Oh wow, he can't attack with the Hazoret. He can block with the Hazoret though next turn. Dead on board unless he has a removal spell. Sorry, not dead on board. I have no idea why I thought he had more life than he does. Guess we just hold back blockers now. Really need to draw something. We're 21 cards deep at this point. Could rivel it myself. Just in case I draw a Gearhulk that's in my sideboard. This is actually a good draw for him. It doesn't look like it, but it was. Do 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 do. I guess we don't block this turn. I mean, if you want to call it a blowout, it just doesn't seem like we have many other options when every card, you know, every land in our deck's being drawn. We've drawn 12 lands and 22 cards. I was making a joke, Ricky, like we don't even have the Torrential Gearhulks in our deck. I have tried Esper tokens. I've found it to be worse overall than just like playing, thought it was worse overall than just playing Abzan tokens. Abzan tokens felt better to me. Yeah, so we're quickly, like I said, quickly approaching problem territory. Red Rover, send us a spell on over. That doesn't seem like that's an even remotely reasonable attack. Am I supposed to trade this for this? Probably not. So, next turn, this is going to be able to make this not block, this is going to be able to make this not block. And I would take 4, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I guess this one's better than, even though it can't attack next turn. I thought I was at 11 life already. Definitely thought I was at 11 life already. Well, that gives us more turns, but it doesn't really help us. Did I attack with both? If I attack with both, he probably blocks. So I lose a damage if I attack with both. It's a 3-row to attack with just a cat, though? Yeah. I forgot. I'm an idiot. So I gain an extra point of damage like this. So this turn I can't block. And I'm taking 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 13. So I kind of have to play this. Then I have to draw something next turn. We have one settle that we can draw. That's any good. So we need to draw our one settle. Because he's lethal next turn. An approach is okay here too. That's not it. Alright, well, I believe we're just dead on board. I think Jund Walkers is the worst deck I've ever played in terms of standard. I see zero benefit to the deck at all. But that's just me, what do I know? Yeah. Hey, we've drawn 15 lands so far. I don't think we have an out at all. Oh, he's only attacking with one thing. Maybe there's some world where he only attacks with one thing again next turn? I don't know. I don't think there's a world where we can win here. Alright. So unless he has a lightning strike, there's a good chance that we bought ourselves another turn. Spoiler, he can also have like a shock or something probably. I don't know how unlucky it was. Okay, we're dead, I think. Too lazy to do the math. So that thing can't block, those two attack, that attacks, we go to 5. No, we're not dead, we're still at 1. As the board currently sets, we would be at 1. Any shock or lightning strike kills us? Yeah, that's a lightning strike. Deaderino, and 0 and 3. I think the only questionable thing we did all of that game was Ixalan binding a Rampager instead of a Hazoret, and I believe Ixalan's binding the Rampager gained us a lot more life than the Hazoret took from us, so I think that was probably correct. Maybe I shouldn't have been attacking on those turns, though. I actually thought there was a reasonable chance we could just win the game. Hey, thank you, MTGO Tavern. Thank you, Magic Online. Appreciate that, man. Go ahead and scoot that over there. Alright, so we'll draw. We'll keep. I'm pretty sure it was, because like even if we draw an approach, we don't gain that 7 life with the Rampager on the table. And like things are spiraling more and more out of control at that point. I feel like it was right, but maybe that's just hindsight because, like, when we're reevaluating it, we know what cards we drew. Like, what were we likely to draw? Those the question. I'm not sure. I feel like it was an okay play. I have no idea what my opponent's playing, but I'm going to go ahead and cycle that anyway because we're low on options. I'm going to keep the cast out because this could just be a bad GFG draw or something. If he doesn't play anything reasonable this turn, we'll get rid of the cast out. Okay, I lied. We're going to keep the cast out for one more draw, because I'm still not sure exactly what he's playing. Could be the green-white deck with a medium draw. Could be a GFG deck with a medium draw. Could be Cat Tribal, because we're in the 0-3 bracket. Who knows? What is this thing? BC Warrior. I don't know what that is. Alright, well since we're playing a Blossoming Defense, we're snap cycling this now. Could have Essence Scattered that, but not interested in essence scattering that. Not when we already have at least one Wrath in our hand. And when we already have a kill spell in our hand. Feel like we're so far ahead this game that I'm going to be greedy and look for more and more value out of the settle. And since I'm not worried about my current life total, I think it's pretty easy to wait and settle on a turn that I can cast the Essence Scatter. Now that I actually will Essence Scatter because he can use it for triggers. Like if it was a creature that would be attacking me next turn, I would not have cast that settle. Or I would not have cast that Essence Scatter, I would have waited for the settle. That card does not attack, so... It's a good chance I settle this turn. Especially since we're planning on casting the approach next turn anyway. So we're kind of like locking into 2 turns of not settling if we don't settle now. Makes it real easy since he cycled too. He played a land and cycled, so we know there's no like Regal Caracal or anything coming down this turn. Which is like the one card that we might not have wanted to settle versus. So he gets, in theory, 2 more attack steps. That's providing we draw a land or something. Okay, he does not get 2 more attack steps. I was wrong. Doing what we just did is one of the beautiful things of having 4 approaches in a deck. One of the reasons I kind of don't like not having them. Anyway, so... I'm going to bring in all of this type of stuff versus them. I almost like the cat, or almost like the 40s, but I don't think so. Ixalan's bindings are interesting, but I don't know if they're good enough. They are blossoming defense in general deck, so I just think I want to shave a few cards like these. We'll keep a couple cast outs in just in case they have Gideons in their sideboard, because like Willie Edel had Gideons in his sideboard. I think they're a little bit slower of a deck, so I believe that it's safe to keep in Azcantas and like most of our Glimmers. I'm not actually sure what else I want to cut. I don't want to cut the Meltdown because they are a Lone Tusk Cub deck as well. Guess they don't really play on curve a whole lot. Maybe we can try some Censors. I don't like ever sideboarding out Censors, but like I've been experimenting more and more of taking them out ever since Ricky said to. I don't know if it's right or wrong, but like I said, I try to keep an open mind when I'm playtesting, and like I actually try to find out whether things are right or wrong, and I could be very wrong about not sideboarding out Censors, who knows? So it's worth testing, I think. I think that's one of the most important things, like when you're testing and when you're playing, is to like, A, not be completely results orientated, realize you're playing a small sample size of games and you have to increase your sample size. But B, to be willing to try things you're not comfortable with, because not everything you ever think is correct in a game. I do think those are 2 of the most important things. Because he's a blossoming defense deck, I'm just going to go ahead and do this right now. Instead of play the farmlands. Might actually cycle the farmlands later, or we might play it on turn 4. Depends on what our next couple of draws look like and what his next couple of draws look like. Like I like to come to a conclusion. Or like try to think how things play out in my head first. Like whether it be like trying a new card or whatever. And then try to put that thought process into practice and see if it's how I originally thought or not, and then try other people's approaches on top of that, because just because mine worked doesn't mean another one might not work more efficiently. So like, I've been pretty happy with how I sideboard the deck, but Riki's also found success with a completely different approach, for example. The pun was not intended there, but but yeah. So I like to just try them both. Just why we're on his exact 75 again today, and just sideboarding a little bit differently. Not a lot differently, mind you, just a little bit. Hey, we have our own cats, friend. Oh, friendo. We have our own cataroo. Meow, meow. Meow, 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 meow. Is this King Cat? Are you tapping 3? Looks like it's King Cat. No, it's not King Cat. I don't care about this cat at all. This cat scares me none. Even if it is a snake cat. I guess I won't put that in the graveyard. Can't really attack, but we have a heck of a wall. Can't attack because I don't really want to put that in the graveyard. I don't really want to trade this for that. I just want to build up a wall while we start waiting to approach. This is a wall that's going to be very hard for him to get through. Sensor in the graveyard? Sure. We really just want to land so we can slam approach. Now our opponent's going to play 2 black lands and a Lost Legacy over the next 2 turns. And we're going to be sad. Oh, so sad. I'm actually going to do something neat during my next upkeep. And because of our cat wall, it makes it kind of sweet. Cat wall. What you gonna do when the cat wall runs wild on you? Cat wall. Meow meow. I wonder if I keep saying cat wall if people will like leave. I'd probably leave if a streamer kept saying cat wall and going meow meow all the time. Wow. I was attacking with lots of things. I don't know what he's up to. Also not sure I'm concerned with what he's up to. Guess he's probably going to have some number of blossoming defenses or something. But that's okay. We're going to gain 200 life. Oh, heroic interventions. That doesn't seem very profitable for him. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and rivulet ourselves. Sacking the Rivulet, putting 4 cards in our library so we can flip Dascanta and still have 7. Yes. Yes. Okay. There's no reason to do anything. We know we draw our approach next turn. We know we win next turn as long as he doesn't have Gideon. If he has Gideon... Oh. Alright. That changes things. We're going to have to find a cast out now. It's a good thing we have, you know, this big wall. Sure, sure. Put the approach in her hand. Probably could start attacking and trying to win that way, but... Nah. Just gonna go look for a cast out. He gets double Gideon's intervention, by the way. We're gonna be emo. Didn't think about that card. Maybe I should have left one cast out, one Ixalan's Binding. I have 43 life points. And an active Azcanta. I can't actually see those cards. Alright, we'll take this one. Kinda want to hit a land on this one. Just want to make all my land drops at the moment. Both of Ajani, what do? You make Planeswalkers one less and put a +1/+1 on all your dudes. Alright, have at it. Don't care how big your dudes get, we have a settled wreckage. The size of your dudes matters not to the Ray. Let's see if we hit the cast out. Did not hit the cast out. This lets us look for 4 cards as well, and it's more mana efficient, or has a better use of our mana, not more mana efficient, but. So we'll leave that on top because we can play 2 spells next turn. Alright, there's a cast out. Land? Don't know why I still want lands. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, so not enough. Doing a cast out at the end of his turn, and then we're going to play Approach on our following turn. What is this? Vanquishers? Don't care, I don't think. It doesn't do anything, does it? Nope. It does not do anything. And then we're just going to press F6. If he swings all out, I'll press F3 and then let Goose settle. He knows we have the Approach in our hand, so like he knows he's dead. It's really hard for Approach to lose to like these mid-range decks that are a little bit more slower than Temur, or like have a little less card economy value. Alright, so 1 and 3, moving on to round 4. Remember guys, if the 20 of you like what you're seeing, smash that follow button. And click the links down below to both my Twitter and my YouTube, where you can also smash those follow buttons. On the Twitter, you'll find every time we go live, and, you know, just random conversations and stuff with people. On the YouTube, you'll find all of our past broadcasts. If you're already watching from the YouTube and you're interested in either the Twitch, the Twitter, or the deck list, look in the description below the videos. This hand is fine. It's landlight, but we have quite a few little interactive spells here. We can cycle this if we have to. We already have an Approach, which is always nice to find one of those early. It's another white-based deck. White with a cat. Meow and meow. I think I'd rather cycle a Censor, especially on the draw, than a cast out versus an opponent that could be playing multiple different decks. Like, we don't know whether he's GFG, we don't know whether he's like a cat list, we don't know. Alright, so he's very likely a cat list. Did we get the same opponent back to back? We did not. So, okay, it's the Willy Edel type list. So, that kind of sucks. I feel like that deck's pretty solid versus us, and our draw's pretty medium on top of that. Opponent is 0-3. He's having a rough league, too. Yeah, I guess I'm not going to play Settle here. Our opponent's a very heavy creature deck, so I think since we don't have a Wrath in our hand, that I'd rather just, like, sure up being able to Essence Scatter something on this turn. Or being able to likely Essence Scatter something on this turn. I didn't really want to Essence Scatter that, but we'll take what we can get. So we've taken 2 points of damage from this game. Yeah, let's run it back. Same play. Fortunately, we're getting decimated right now. We need to draw lands and rafts. They have multiple heroic interventions post-board usually. Ooh. We'll take 3 damage down to 8 this turn. Oh, I guess we're not going to take 3 damage. We're going to take 2 damage down to 9. Starting to draw out of it a little bit. Let's go ahead and start with this one. Fortunately, there's like a lot of pump spells in the, or sorry, unfortunately, there's a lot of pump spells in their deck, so maybe we should held up Glimmer there. If we'd held up Glimmer though, and they played a creature, and we didn't get to cast a Search Fast Canto, we'd have been sick to our stomach. And they are playing like a 26 creature deck. Didn't attack. Wow. That could be a game-costing misplay. He sacrificed a land and done no damage to us. I guess I could just pretend I'm at 4. For the sake of the stream. Like, we're playing for 2 tickets right now. Or two tickets worth of play points. Certainly want to put that in the graveyard, I guess. Or could just be greedy and take the win, or try to take the win. I mean, obviously we don't have it yet. Let's see what he plays before we make decisions. Guess we'll counterspell that. So it's kind of like weird because I probably wouldn't counterspell that if I was at 4. Yeah, I wouldn't counterspell that if I was at 4. Because I'd die either way. Let's see what we draw. Could just beat us anyway. don't want to win because they made a misclick. So I'm just gonna go ahead and scoop and go on to the next game. I believe these are all good in this match. I believe this is actually good in this match. I believe this is better than Settles in general. Their deck's actually, sorry, I believe this is better than Supreme Wills in general. Their deck. They are Blossoming Defense deck. I always take this out versus Blossoming Defense decks. They may not. Like I said, I don't know. I'm mostly playing for fun. I'm not going to cry over 2 play points. I think we have like 2,500 or something. I'm just going to take out like a couple of the slower blue spells. The play points probably mean a lot more to him than they do to me. So we'll play first. Hand's not great, but I'm going to keep it. I probably shouldn't keep hands like this, but in complete honesty, when I have multiple cards with the word scrying or cycling on them, like, I think I get blinded by, you know, that card could be anything, even a boat. It's usually not a boat. It has sometimes been a boat. I feel like that's something that I probably do a little too often. Keep like very medium hands. Like I don't have a play before turn 4 versus this fast aggro deck that can actually win on turn 4. So like it's probably a horrible keep by me, but man, we had something to do on turn 1 and turn 2. It's real hard not to keep that. At least for me, it's real hard not to keep that. Have you played any more of your black-green deck expired? And if so, how's it been going? Really? He's gonna play around Censor? Find it hard to believe he doesn't have at least a 2-drop. Doobie doobie doo. We're gonna rock all over you. Doobie 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 doo. Yep, playing around Censor. Playing around Censor just gives us like extra turn to draw, Supreme Wills, disallows, fumigates, things of that nature. So I'm never a fan of playing around that card. That card, them people, you know, that type of stuff. Worked out in this case though, as we obviously didn't have anything. Alright, so Fumigate's not very good versus Vanguard. Vanguardoru. By the way, thank you Zetman for the reset. See that it happened off stream, so I don't know if you're watching the replay or whatever, but thank you. Again, that card is not very good here. Might Field of Runes one of his deserts after the next turn. Didn't play anymore. That's nice. Keep us informed how it goes, because I really think that's a pretty neat idea at the moment. I think there's a good chance it could be powerful again. see what he plays this turn. Ah, no, another Hashap Oasis. I was already killing one of those. I certainly didn't want you to draw us another. We get an island with ours, I guess. Or we have a plains in hand, or we have an island in hand. It doesn't really matter too much. Throw in a Cycle V2. It's like we're playing Drakehaven deck. But you know, without the good cards. Like Drakehaven. I kill me, folks. I kill me. Hope none of you kill me, but I kill me. Opponent really has to just have, like, pump spells galore here. Or, like, infinite land. Both things that could be happening. I'm gonna take the damage and we're gonna play Cast Out post-combat. He has a Blossoming Defense. I don't want to take the additional 2 damage. I feel like there's a good chance he has a Blossoming Defense. Could just have like a bunch of heroic interventions and stuff too. Oh wow, he pressed F6. And we're wrong. No Blossoming Defense. Yeah, let's go to 15 and hope we don't die. And the positive note is, he only gets 2 more attack steps, and we could always get lucky and just draw it, therefore he'll only getting 1 more. So like, that's always the thing that could happen. So 1, 2, 3, 4. If he's got 2 of the things, be like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That doesn't kill us. Do an additional 2 of this. Yeah, so 6, 7, 7 down to 8. So we're looking pretty good then. Because we can Fumigate and Supreme Will Heroic Intervention. If he just doesn't have it, that means we get to win on our next turn. Yeah, so we know we get to win next turn. I don't think there's anything he can draw. Maybe he's got like a Gideon or a Gideon's Intervention or something to prevent us from winning this turn. Or to prevent us from winning next turn, rather. Well, he's choosing not to buy this back or this back. That's kind of awkward. What's he doing? And we know to approach is the top card of our library. Because we good at math. Math, yay! Again, I'm sorry guys, if it sounds like my voice sounds weird, or if it sounds like I'm salty or anything of that nature. I'm actually getting a sore throat right now, so I'm like trying to talk quieter and things, oh god, of that nature. Almost want this back in on the draw. Not really sure about it though. Yeah, I want to try it. There are Blossoming Defense deck, and I typically take that out versus Blossoming Defense decks, but I do believe I want to try it. The air I breathe is so cold right now where my throat's starting to feel bad. Alright. So this hand's kind of a loose keep, but we're going to keep it because A, we're on to draw, and B, Opt lets us go 2 cards deep, so we get our original draw step. Then on next turn we get a scry, a draw, and a draw. So we get like 4 cards, and the upside of this hand is absurd. Like, we have 3 Wrath of God effects already, so the upside of this hand is just so insane that I think we have to keep it, even though it's obviously very speculative. And it sucks to have to keep a hand like this in Game 3 of Round 5, especially when we scooped a winnable Game 1. But feels like I said, it's just way, way too high of upside to get rid of this hand. Let's check out the list. I pull it over here so anybody on like YouTube that's not here to click right now can currently see it. Ripjaw Raptor, that's kind of an interesting one. Do you find it better than Bristling Hydra? Harvesters are a must. Looks pretty solid. It's only 4 removal spells. Interesting. Looks like a pretty solid list. Might try it. I'm kind of interested in trying it. So there's Snap Cycling Sensor. Hey, sweet, we hit another land. Everything's coming up array. For everything to come up array, by the way, we'd have to hit multiple more land. But we have these Essence Scatters right now, and we're not taking a whole bunch of damage, we're just taking some damage. These Essence Scatters go a long way in this match. So he about has to have a creature here. Would have imagined he would have sideboarded that out. Alright, you can do it, deck. Land us. Land us, deck. Yeah! Online! That's fair. That makes some sense. I guess I'm willing to settle here. Yeah, I'm not willing to settle here, actually. Die Young's pretty good, though. I do like Die Young. Let's see what our opponent untaps and plays. Nothing. Alright. We're just grabbing the land. We'll hold up to settle instead of the Fumigate because of Heroic Intervention. Quite honestly, if he only attacks for 3 this turn, there's a good chance that I don't even bother to settle this turn, and that I just played a Glimmer. A lot of it depends on what he does with his mana this turn. Like, if he used a Shefet Dunes, I would probably go ahead and settle. If he, plays, you know, like an Okecha or whatever it's called, I would have to Essence Scatter and couldn't settle. Alright, so we're going to settle. Actually, I don't think we're going to settle. He can't cast Heroic Intervention, so we're probably just going to take 6 damage here and cast Glimmer. That's 6 damage, right? Yeah, 4/6. He's got a land and heroic intervention. We'll like reevaluate and just have taken 6, but that's okay. And we're looking for lands with this. I'm gonna keep at least 1 land, that way we can just keep going on about our day. I should have cycled this. That was a play error. I was just going too fast. Going too fast. But if we don't draw another cycler or a prairie stream, it will end up not mattering at all. Alright, so it ended up not mattering at all, but it was a mistake. Didn't really register in my head what I'd drawn. Little Legion's Landing. Kind of surprised he didn't bring this back. Oh, so he is bringing it back. Alright. Probably just going to untap and fumigate again. We have Settle left up this time. Or sorry, we have Essence Scatter left up this time. So pretty much at this point we just have to find an approach before he draws out of it, but it's really hard for him to draw out of it when we have Essence Scatter, Settle, Gearhulk for another Settle if we need that. I'm going to keep this cast out in our hand just in case they have Gideon or Gideon's Intervention. It's actually pretty common for those decks to play, so... Alright, plans change again. Now we're going to try to win through combat, I guess. Still have this Essence Scatter. Might have brought a Binding in or something. That might be what he's doing with his cards. Not really sure. It could just be a bunch of pump spells in his hand too. I have enough mana to actually even Gearhulk now and be able to hold up Essence Scatter. So like Gearhulk Glimmer, Gearhulk Supreme Will, Gearhulk, you know, Scatter, Gearhulk Scatter, just Gearhulk Scatter. There's a lot of things we can do. Sure. Like, there's no wrong way to eat this current pie. Oh wow. Double Blossoming Defense and he gains a bunch of life. Sure. Rallo, the big issue with it is decks have understand how to sideboard versus it now. At the beginning of the season, when Approach was posting absurd win rates online, it's because people hadn't quite learned how to play around Settle the Wreckage, and people hadn't quite learned how to sideboard. Like, the Teamer decks were experimenting with Spell Pierces, people were trying Carnage Tyrants, people hadn't fine-tuned the, the like main deck list. Like, there's like so many different cards that can go into these decks or into the like energy decks. Sultai wasn't popular yet, so there was like more or less Duresses running around. So like a combination of like people's lists getting better and people's learning how to play versus it is what really put it down. And then what put it over the top from being like what I consider from going from like a top tier deck into like a medium tier deck, and this is just my opinion. Obviously, I'm not incredibly, you know, I'm not accomplished or anything. I can highly be wrong. But besides the energy decks learning how to play versus it, the other big problem was red decks were already pretty good versus you, and the red decks are still like 20% of the meta. And then they picked up Rampaging Ferostodon. So how the matches used to play out versus red decks, they'd play some threats, you'd play some threat, or they'd play some threats, you'd answer some threats at some point, and then like at some point the game would get down to you having like 5 or 6 mana and like having to maybe fade a draw step or maybe being slightly ahead, and then you would slam an approach and gain 7 life and the game would be locked. But now where they have access to the Rampaging Ferostodon, it really makes your authority to councils considerably worse, and it makes being able to just cast approach on 7 not something you can always do anymore. On top of that, let's pop up the list again while we talk. On top of that, like, even though that the energy decks are a large percentage of the field, and the red decks are a large percentage of the field, those two decks combined are probably only 45 or 50% of the field, maybe 60 to 65% on day 2s of bigger events. But you have to keep in mind that like the mirror match is terrible, right? So like when you get paired versus other approach decks, it's really hard to outskill them. It's typically just who resolves the first search for Azcanta or who draws their approaches. Like the decks almost play themselves, and like that's not a good place you want to be. Anytime that there's control mirrors, you want to be able to leverage skill advantages. And then on top of that, like it's not great versus decks like the Drakehaven deck and stuff like that. And HICH control. I'm not actually sure what that meant. You know, a lot like what Expired said there. Like at the beginning of the format, like people would hold their negates and just like try to stop you from winning with approach when like, well, like say you're playing an energy deck or whatever, and you have some number of duresses or negates in your deck. Like it's often, or even Lost Legacy, so it's often more important just getting rid of a sweeper. Which control deck do you think can fight back in this meta? On a personal level, I don't think there's a control deck that can fight back. I say that completely as unbiased as I can because I hate energy. I don't want to play versus energy. I don't want to play with energy. I'm sick of the deck. The deck's been around for just too darn long now. And I think ever since Rogue Refiner and Attune were legal, I think it has been the best deck in the format. I just think people didn't realize it at some points. I think at no time has it not been the best decks in the format. Like even when Emrakul was legal and like Black Green Delirium was crushing, I think people should have just been playing Marvel and didn't know any better. Like they should have just been playing Temur Marvel and didn't know any better. But anyway, so like I'm trying not to like sound like rude or offensive or anything when I say things like that, but like the energy decks are just too customizable. And like they just don't have a good match. They just don't have a good plan versus the energy decks. And if the energy decks and the red decks are so strong and so pushed, it makes it hard to build a control deck that can beat them. Like the black-blue deck. You can build a black-blue deck that's pretty reasonable versus energy and pretty reasonable versus like the other blue-white decks and stuff like that. But you give up such a large percentage versus the red decks that it's really hard to play it. Or if you tune your deck to beat the red decks, you give up the percentages versus the other fields. It's just really hard to be reasonable versus everything right now unless you're actually playing the energy decks themselves. The energy decks themselves, in my opinion, just do not have bad matches. I think every one of them is a slight dog, even, slightly ahead, or very ahead. I don't think they have any completely terrible match. Like, even if you want to, like, argue that, like, Approach or Blue-White Drake is better than Energy, like, they're not better than Energy by a lot. It's like 45-55, you know, and that's enough to maybe play those decks, but, like, it's not overwhelming by any means. Yeah, I mean, they just have so many things that go well for them. Like, Attune thins your deck, fixes your mana, and the energy you get is worth some percentage of a card. Like being able to put +1/+1, or like being able to use the servant counters, like banking energy for Thopters. Like, so it's like, even when you're playing like what when you would look on paper as quote unquote the worst card in the deck, because like those cards have always traditionally been bad. But in the energy deck where you actually get the energy with it, it's like it's worth more than a card, you know. The Rogue Refiner's worth more than a card. The Bristling Hydra's worth more than a card. The Whirler Virtuoso's worth more than a card. The only card in the entire decks that are not worth more than a card are like the Magma Sprays and or Abrades, whichever ones of those you use, and Lone Tusk Cub. Like Lone Tusk, and you can see what Lone Tusk Cub can do by itself. Lone Tusk Cub can just win games by itself, or it can be an energy enabler for like your Whirler Virtuosos or your Hydras. But like that's the only card that like when you play it at all times, it's just this. But like every card in the deck has some extra value. That's fair. But like you're still playing an energy deck. See, well, okay, Mikey, I won't argue that. Like, Solemnity is good versus energy, right? But like, then Solemnity's terrible versus all of the blue-white decks you play, whether they be GFG, whether they be Drakehaven, whether they be this list, or it's bad versus all the blue-black control decks. It's bad versus all the red deck wins. Like, do you want to draw two Solemnities versus like a red deck's win deck? You're just like asking to lose those games. And on top of that, like, Solemnity doesn't just beat energy. Yeah, you have to keep in mind that, like, even if you resolve a Solemnity, or I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, like, they still have Grizzly Bears. Like, Servant of Conduit and Lone Tusk Cub are still 2/2s for 2. Rogue Refiner's still a 3/2 for 2 that draws you a card. Like, sure, Whirler Virtuoso gets bad, it's still a 2/3. Bristling Hydra's still a 4/3, you know. Glorybringer can still just win games. Chandras can still just win games. Scarab Gods can still just win games. Like just stopping them from getting the energy doesn't necessarily mean you always beat them is the issue. Like even if you're gonna say blatantly, like say you said energy is no longer a mechanic, but you don't ban any of the cards that are actually energy, you just like remove the energy from them. Like energy, the Temur energy decks would not be the best deck in the format, but it would still be a tier 2 deck without it having energy. Because like Glorybringers and Rogue Refiners and stuff like that are still just that powerful. Like it would still be at least a tier 2 deck. Some of the cards would change. Sure, you wouldn't play Whirler Virtuoso, you wouldn't play Lightning Harness, you'd play like Lightning Strike over it, but like that would still be a tier 2 deck. And if you can have a tier 2 deck when you literally remove the mechanic from the deck, that's insane. Alright. I'm talking about the Temur energy deck specifically. Like, you don't have the Glorybringers or anything in your black-green. Yeah, it is devastating unless you also have like a turn 3 Drakehaven. If you have a turn 3 Drakehaven, you can generally get enough blockers in front of it that you can get your Settles and your Fumigates going. But like the turn 2 Lone Tusk Cub from the Temur decks is the most, you know, valuable thing in the match. And the Glint is the most valuable thing from the Sultai or the black-green list, you know. And the Search for Azcanta is the most valuable thing from like the blue-white list. So like you need a different card to beat every one of those cards, right? Because like say you just have a Effer Meltdown, like it's no good versus the Glint. Say you have Slash of Talons, it's no good versus the Lone Tusk Cub, and like neither Slash of Talons or Effer Meltdowns are good versus the Search. Like it's just so hard to beat. The turn 2 drops are so powerful right now that it makes it very hard for the control, or you know, like the control decks to really fight back. Just like that's a common theme that if you look through all of the decks that are considered reasonable, get out of here. If you look through all of the decks that are considered reasonable, just look how strong the turn 2 drops are. Like Glints and Scrap Heaps. This is an underpowered synergy deck, and like its 2 drops are still its best cards. The energy decks, like its 2 drops are really what sets it off, but like its 3 drops and stuff, it's a little slower mid-range deck, but like its 2 drops are still absurdly powerful, you know? with Blue-White Approach, I consider my 2-drop spot my most important card slot. The, what else is there? Like the Sultai deck. Again, you know, we got 12 2-drops. It's just so hard to beat those 2 12-drops. Well, I've heard that I sound like Kermit the Frog. I've heard that I sound like Matthew McConaughey. But John C. Reilly's a new one, and I actually kind of like that because I am a massive fan of John C. Reilly. Anyway, let's pop up the deck list that we played again today. Didn't really learn anything different from today than yesterday. Still don't like the Kefnet and the Stad. I still don't like not having a fourth authority. We've now lost to Mono Red twice. Neither of the matches felt particularly close, though we did flood out that last game. I've not missed a cast out. The Essence Scatters have overperformed, so I think the Essence Scatters are definitely staying in the list. Yeah, no, you take a big hit. I'm just saying, like, sometimes it can leverage you a few turns to get to your settles or whatever. But anyway, that's going to do it for us today. We're now 4-1 yesterday, so we're 6-4 with this particular deck list. We probably won't play it again tomorrow because I don't really want to, like, you know, shove the same deck list down your guys' throat over and over and over and over. Probably try to find a little something different. But we will probably revisit this deck. I actually want to test this deck in Drakehaven quite a bit because Store Championships are coming up, and I am a massive, 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 massive sucker when it comes to playmats. So I think we're going to host Thundermo today. Thundermo is playing a deck similar to this. He's playing Blue-White Drakehaven. Go say hello to him and have some fun. And there's also, if you want to watch a good teamer player, Matthew Folks, I can't pronounce his last names online, but he's a bit more of an abrasive person with language and stuff like that, so just keep that in mind before you go watch him. Anyway, take care everybody, and thank you so much for stopping by again today. And we'll try our best to be back tomorrow.